Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's Joby, and unfortunately, my wife is at the med center right now because she's having some sort of allergic reaction, and the poor thing, her bottom lip is swollen up like you would not believe. It's not even funny. I don't mean to laugh, but man, it's huge. It's crazy. She had some sort of allergic reaction to something, so she is waiting to be seen right now, and I drove down the road just so I could vlog a little bit. And I thought I would tell you about what happened Wednesday and this morning. So, anyway, basically, the story goes like this. On Wednesday morning, Susie was home. She was in the bathroom doing whatever you do in a bathroom, getting ready, staring at herself in the mirror. I don't exactly know what she was doing, but she was in the bathroom, and somebody started knocking on the front door, and she said to herself, well, I am not expecting anyone, so I'm not going to answer that door. And she just went about her business. Well, whoever was knocking at the door started beating on the door, like basically beating down the door. And the dogs are going insane, and she like starts going into panic attack mode because she has anxiety really bad, and she started having a bit of a panic attack, and she didn't have her phone with her, so she didn't want to go out of the bathroom to get her phone. She just kind of froze up. And then she heard the guy trying to get in the window. Well, fortunately, at the same time, a guy from an oil change place across the street from my house saw this individual trying to open up our window and walked down to the edge of the parking lot and just stood there and watched him. And the guy eventually turned around and looked around to see what was going on, and noticed the guy from Quaker State, and he said, do you know if these people are home? And the guy from the Quaker State was like, no, I don't know if they're home. And the guy said, well, do you know if so-and-so lives here? And he said, I don't know if they live there, but I do know that opening their window isn't going to make them show up any faster. So after that, the guy just took off. Well, the guy from Quaker State had seen my wife outside smoking a cigarette, so he walked over to the house basically to check on her and see if she noticed that somebody was beating down the door and if she was okay. And she noticed him through the window. And at this time, she had finally come out of the bathroom, and she noticed him, so she went outside and started talking to him and called me. I was at work. I was all the way in Delton, and she called me up just absolutely freaking out, and I'm yelling at her to get off the phone with me and call the cops. So anyway, the guy from Quaker State calls the cops, and they come talk to him at Quaker State. He gives them a description, and they say they're going to look around the neighborhood or whatever. I drive home. I make it to the house, and Susie's calmed down a little bit. So I go over and I talk to the guy from Quaker State, and I get the description of the guy for myself. So I drive back to work, drop off my work car, grab my car, come home. And before I get home, I start driving around the blocks around her house to see if I can spot the guy, or a guy that matched the description, shall we say. So anyway, I see him, and I'm like, motherfucker, you know? And so I immediately dial 911, and I'm like, hey, I need a cop. Guy tried to break into my house earlier, and send a cop right now. And they're like, where are you? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know the name of this road. And it's like a street up from me. So I'm like, hold on, let me drive down the street. So I drive down to the corner and tell them where I'm at. And they're like, okay, we'll just wait there and we'll send an officer. So I'm sitting there for like 5 minutes waiting for a fucking cop to show up. And eventually he does. And I take him down to where I saw the guy matching the description walking. And I'm like, right there. He was right there. He walked down that driveway between those two houses. And so basically the cop gets out of the car. He walks back through the driveway and he starts looking around in the backyards. And apparently a woman came out of one house and he spoke to her. So he comes back and he tells me, well, I didn't see him, and I talked to the woman in this house and she said she didn't see him. So don't worry, he'll turn up. And I'm like, great. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm worried about, is him turning up, you know. So at this point I'm like, fuck it. You guys are useless and I'm going home. So go home, blah, blah, blah. Cut to today. And Susie sees the guy walking down the sidewalk next to our house. So she like, hey, come here. And points the guy to me, and he cuts across the yard. I look out the window, I see him cutting across my yard. And I just kind of look at her and I'm like, all right, watch this. And so I flew out the front door, and he was just getting past the end of my fucking yard. And I just screamed at him. I just said, hey, asshole. And he turned around. So I guess, you know, at least he knows his fucking name. And I gave him kind of the, you need to come here. And I said, you need to get over here. We need to have a talk. So he comes down to the edge of the road, and I fucking ball ass down my fucking hill in front of my house. And I just say, hey, what in the fuck were you doing beating on my window the other day? Oh, I wasn't beating on your window. And I just said, bullshit. And he was like, no, I was looking for Alex something. He has some work for me. And I just said, bullshit. You opened the fucking screen. The moment you open that fucking screen, buddy, that is breaking and entering. And I believe that's 15 fucking years. So I just pretty much called him out on it. And he was just like, you know, he pretty much at that point admitted that it was him. And I just said, what in the fuck were you doing? And he just said, I don't know. And I said, you know, my wife was in the house. You fucking terrified her, and you made her afraid to live in her own home, and you made me uncomfortable to be in my own home, you know. And I was pretty much screaming at the guy, and I was shaking so bad. I was just like, you know, he kept staring at my hands because I just kept doing this, like, you know, a lot of people today, when they read my post on Facebook, are like, oh, you're a better man than me, or whatever. And, you know, I'll be honest with you. I wanted to pummel the guy. I wanted to just fucking thrash him. But the truth of the matter is, when he did open the window, he was wearing gloves. And the only thing I had to go on was the description that the guy from Quaker State had given me, because Susie really didn't see the guy. You know, she just pointed him out today because he kind of fit the description again. And I was like, son of a bitch, that's the guy I saw the other day. So I guess why I didn't just fucking beat him to death where he stood was because when I started speaking to him, I wasn't 100% sure that this guy had done anything wrong to me. I am now 100% sure that it was the guy. And I am now pretty damn sure that he's not coming back. Because, I mean, in no certain terms, I told him, if you even walk anywhere near my fucking house, I will murder you where you stand. I will fucking kill you. Do you understand me? I will not beat your ass. I will fucking kill you. And I was livid. And the guy was just looking at me like, holy fuck, I'm about to die. you know? And honestly, I mean, I don't know why I didn't like call the cops and say, hey, here's this fucking asshole. Maybe it's because at this point I just had this overwhelming feeling of negativity towards the sheriff's department, because here's the thing, they didn't even fucking bother to come speak to my wife about the whole thing. They never even bothered to come to my house and even check on my wife. You know, I don't know if anybody out there is a cop that watches this, but can you tell me if that's standard procedure after somebody's called in a attempted break-in while they were in the house, that you just completely don't fucking show up? I mean, is that something that cops routinely do? Because I'll tell you what, right now I'm really, really, really fucking pissed off about it. And I don't know quite where to go with it yet, but I feel like there should be some sort of repercussion towards the Calhoun County Sheriff's Department for their complete, utter lack of care for my wife. You didn't even bother to come see her. I don't give a fuck about the fact that you didn't grab the asshole and I found him twice. You couldn't fucking find him driving around the neighborhood in 2 cop cars, but I fucking managed to find him twice. So, what the fuck, you know? Like, I just don't understand it, and I'm really pissed off. I do feel better having basically threatened this man, you know, just telling him that it's a mistake that he really doesn't want to make again, you know, and I screamed at him that, you know, I basically just kept telling him the same thing over and over again, that I would fucking end him. And, you know, I got to a point where I'm just like, I'm looking at the guy, and the guy was obviously terrified and looked that he knew he had wronged. I hope that's the case. And the last thing I said to him was, just get the fuck out of here. And, yeah, I mean, I walked in the house and I was still shaking for 10 minutes. I was just like, you know, it's one of those things where in the moment you don't know what to do, you know, like did I want to just fucking bash the guy's head in? Yes, I did. I really, really wanted to just grab the guy. And trust me, I had no fear of him. I could have mangled this dude, especially with the amount of anger in me at that time. I would have fucking probably done something pretty severe to this man. And I'm not trying to be Billy Badass here. I'm not Billy Badass. I am fucking a pacifist. I do not like violence, and my fuse is extremely long when it comes to pushing me to the point of attacking you. You know, I was a bouncer for a while, and my boss always said I was the perfect bouncer because I would just end the situation. I never escalated it. I just ended it, you know, and I had times as a bouncer, literally one night I stood holding 2 giant fucking meathead Western Michigan football players, one out from each arm. Sorry, I can't do it right now because I'm holding my phone, but I held them both at arm length at Club Soda, while both of them just rocked me in the face over and over again, trying to get to one another. And, you know, I still just like, you know, in that particular situation, there was another guy that worked at Club Soda, this giant dude, Mo, and Mo flew over and grabbed one of the guys. And to be honest, I hadn't even met Mo at that point. I had just started working there, and Mo comes running at me, and I'm like, son of a bitch, this guy's another football player, and I'm about to die. But he just fucking snatched one of them dudes like they were a little tiny little piece of candy corn or something. I don't know. He just picked him up and fucking started heading out the door. So I fucking turned around and rocked the one guy in the face and grabbed him and drug him out the door right behind Mo. And we threw them both out into the street to let them do what the fuck ever they wanted at that point. But the point is, I am not a fighter. I don't want to get into fights. Like, but when you put my family in danger, you're going to see the worst side of me. Anyways, you guys, that's all I really had to say about the subject. I feel pretty damn confident that I'm never going to see that guy again. And I feel a lot more secure in my own home. And also, real quick, you know, I don't think it was like, a lot of people have said, oh, you show your guitar equipment, your recording equipment on YouTube, and somebody's going to come break into your house. I don't think it was that at all. I mean, Jesus Christ, I have 116 subscribers. If he was one of my 116 subscribers, I'd probably know about it. But, yeah, it's getting pretty dark, and Susie just texted, so I guess I'm going to end this now. But, you know, fuck that guy. That's all I can say. Peace. Take it easy.